Diner is open for business here on this late September night. So basically, the last week or so, it's just a matter of Atomical, Thriller Wolf. What the fuck has been going on the last week?
Besides Jimmy Kimmel being canceled, and now Disney is bringing him back again.
Well, he was never canceled. He was just suspended. Big difference.
Suspended indefinitely. So on top of that, there of course turned out to be a copycat of a guy deciding, oh, I'm going to shoot up an ICE facility, even though he didn't kill any agents. He ended up killing people that were being apprehended. So
Racist.
Good job, dickhead.
Yeah, what a racist.
Well, he didn't mean to do that, but anyway. And then, of course, Donald Trump says pregnant women don't take Tylenol, and pregnant women proceed to post TikTok videos of them taking massive amounts of Tylenol.
Oh, for God's sake. Really?
It's out there.
Because
and then of course, we've had YouTube deciding to admit, oh yeah, we did ban conservative channels, but we'll bring them back now. Like, yeah, and that's old news. It's something that we were watching happen in real time when it was happening in the previous administration. So we do got some topics to talk about today. But you know what? I try to be an entertainment-based podcast. I try to be pop culture. Unfortunately, a lot of politics has invaded pop culture to the point where you're like, God damn it, it's impossible to ignore. And as such is the case with Jimmy Kimmel, because this is a guy that's supposed to be an entertainment host. He's a talk show host. He's late night. So all he's, his job is interview celebrities, talk a few jokes for people trying to fall asleep at night. But, it's well known, Jimmy Kimmel, who he sides with politically. He has done a lot of jokes over the years that, like there was the one time where he literally said, oh, if you didn't take the vaccine, you don't deserve an ER room. Go to, rest in peace, Wheezy. That was one of his monologues.
Jeez, yeah. What a prick.
He really is.
This was somebody that used to say he would celebrate when conservative voices or when conservative politicians would be canceled. He'd be celebrating that. And then when it's the other way around, all of a sudden, oh my God, how could you do that? This is freedom of speech. Oh my God, this is freedom. This is a violation of freedom of speech. You're only allowed to do speech I think you're allowed to do.
Fascism. Fascism months?
You're a fascist. You followed the ideology of an Austrian art student.
And you blame Donald Trump for having a pencil dick.
The politics has become like a virus or like a hard drug like crack.
It has become so tribalistic. Unfortunately, with what happened the week before, and we did a podcast episode on it, this happened, the thing that happened on September 10th. We've already talked about it at length, our immediate thoughts on it. But the main sickening part of it was how many people celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, and people of high profile even basically saying, oh yeah, the dude got what was coming to him. He was a neo-Nazi. He was all of this. It's like, you fucking idiots. No, he wasn't. You didn't have to agree with what he was saying. You didn't have to agree with his political standpoints. But good Lord, dude, assassinated for having a different political opinion? That was ultimately what it came down to. And people like Jimmy Kimmel, once the information started coming out, what was Jimmy Kimmel doing? He was going along with the narrative saying, oh no, it was a MAGA guy who shot Charlie Kirk. It was a Republican who shot Charlie Kirk. That's what he said in his opening monologue, basically, after the information came out that no, the shooter was a radicalized leftist who had a furry girlfriend with a penis.
I did hear from the other side that, it was not a leftist, it was a Republican, and it was, but not the MAGA type. No. What I heard was that he shot Charlie Kirk for not being far right enough in his eyes.
No, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to say, oh no, there was a white supremacist group that said Charlie Kirk wasn't far right enough. They were trying to link him to that when clearly the bullets were definitely leftist rhetoric, anti-fascist rhetoric,
Yeah,
as one would
and
say.
he also said that the MAGA gang were desperately trying to
Say
character.
that the shooter wasn't one of them. That's what
Yeah,
he said.
yeah, and to score you know more political points, and that is what got Kimmel suspended. And of course, for a time, we did not know how long he was going to get suspended, but this came from multiple angles for multiple reasons. And, it's not just from the FCC apparently threatening to revoke ABC's broadcasting license, which they could do, but also the parent companies of so many ABC stations across the country, like Nexstar and Sinclair, and they boycotted Kimmel hard, and it could be from it could be advertisers pressure and pressuring them
It
too.
was definitely viewer pressure. It was definitely, I mean, of course you're going to say, "Oh my god, it was Donald Trump's fault because he's been targeting mainstream media because yeah, mainstream media has been going after him for 10 years." I mean, their logic is literally it's okay for them to go after Donald Trump and say things about him, and even whether it's true or it isn't. But then when Donald Trump gives them a taste of their own medicine, oh, how dare he does that? He's not allowed to do that. I was like, does that sound like their logic to me?
Yep.
But you have to think of it, it was a total business decision. And it was also amidst the wave of countless people who made these TikTok videos or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, doing all these social media posts, just downright celebrating the execution of this guy in front of his wife and children. And it was one of those things where even many Democrats and many leftists were saying this was evil. This you don't celebrate the death of somebody for a political opinion. So they're literally outing themselves as supporters of Charlie Kirk's death. So a lot of companies and a lot of business owners are just like, well, wait a minute. This is a liability if this is the kind of mindset that this employee has. So we can't afford to have them. So that's
Mhm.
why a lot of people were losing their jobs over this.
Oh yeah,
Especially,
absolutely. And some of which should not even do that. Like, when I think two American Airlines pilots in Dallas, I think, got fired for having, I guess, those kinds of comments about Charlie Kirk on social media, which they should not have made in the first place. Airline pilots should not even talk politics.
and not to mention, I think there was a DC comic book writer that also got fired for supporting Charlie Kirk's death. DC says, for what the writer says, we're refunding everyone's money.
Even though Kimmel's comments, I don't think are as bad as some of the others that you've mentioned, Anthony, it's still a big smear on conservative people. Well, I'm not a big fan of a federal intrusion, and even some conservative people like Senators Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and activists like Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are concerned about that. They disagree with the pressures coming straight out of the FCC that very much contributed to Kimmel's suspension. Uh, the thing is that I still think that there needs to be a punishment. Of course, I prefer that to be internal from, you know, his employer. And even during but still, even during his suspension, Kimmel was in talks with ABC, and then just this cancellation did not last nearly as long as I thought it would. I thought this would last for months, but this only lasted for days.
Yeah, just a few days. That's it. Next thing we know, he's back online or he's back on the air. At first, some of his parent companies said, no, we're not going to have him on, blah, blah, blah. And then they finally rescinded that. So all Kimmel really got out of this was just a slap on the wrist.
Yes.
Now, and now here's the thing. Was I for Jimmy Kimmel getting canceled? Not really. Okay, I don't think you should be canceled for freedom of speech. All right, but in terms of, do I think it's okay for a company to say, okay, you're my employee, you cannot be saying this stuff, and because you did say this stuff, you are now terminated? That's a different story. So people needed to take it along that line versus just saying, oh, it's Donald Trump, it's this shit. It's like, come on, people.
And he was suspended while still being paid. So yeah, it was an absolute slap on the wrist. And he did apologize, but it was and he
It
got
was half-hearted. It wasn't
yeah,
really an apology.
it was yeah, it really was half-hearted. It very really just a quasi apology.
Yeah, no, ultimately when it comes to Kimmel, I think what's going to happen is they're going to let Kimmel write out his contract, and then when his contract renewal comes up, they're going to be like, we're not going to renew your contract. It's the
Yeah,
same thing with Colbert.
Uh-huh.
So, and again, it's not like Jimmy Kimmel is bringing in massive numbers, just like Stephen Colbert's late night. He's not bringing in any money. They're causing they're causing companies to lose money. I mean, it sucks for the people that work for him, and yeah, they'll be out of jobs. But that's the business that's going on in Hollywood. There's just no money in late night TV shows anymore.
And also, if I can point this out, when I think even Roseanne Barr kind of pointed out about something.
Yes, Roseanne did get fired, and she did get what happened to her back in 2018. But when she made a post, she was kind of implying that it was the Biden administration who pressured her into getting fired. And people rightfully pointed out, saying, Roseanne, that happened during the Trump administration.
in the first term.
Yeah.
I remember that. The late night shows are actually losing more money than the amount of money they've been gaining. I mean, they've lost 80% of 18 to 49-year-old viewers in just the last 10 years.
That's good that you brought that up about the fact that Jimmy Kimmel just doesn't bring the numbers. The people that watch Jimmy Kimmel are baby boomers and older people that are not in the key demo, and these are people that are just probably watching him to fall asleep to. But the target audience does not watch him. I mean, put it this way: more people watch All Elite Wrestling, a second-rate pro wrestling company, than they watch Jimmy Kimmel.
And what about listening to podcasts as well?
Exactly. So I mean, yeah, Tim Pool was the one who was like, yeah, I pull more numbers than Jimmy Kimmel.
I would dispute that, but
Tim Pool is not always correct either. We're just saying. So eventually, because I believe because the health administration or whatever said that's gonna be an update on the use of Tylenol. So Donald Trump was basically telling pregnant women, hey, you need to be careful about what you're saying. Don't take Tylenol. And then what is it that pregnant women do? Liberal pregnant women do is they record themselves on TikTok taking Tylenol.
Yep.
which is just incredibly stupid. And I can't even imagine the impact that it would have on their own health, or whether they're pregnant or not.
Because they want to have their baby to have autism and all that.
Well, and that's why they're saying that, and they're saying, "Oh no, there's a higher risk of autism if you're taking these medications or if you're doing that." And that's not necessarily just Tylenol. That applies to almost a lot of medications. And it's not necessarily saying it's not a link to autism. That's not the way I see it. It's mainly saying, "Oh, there's a higher risk for it if you take these medications if you're not careful about it." It's the same with people that say, okay, don't drink when you're pregnant, otherwise your baby's going to have fetal alcohol syndrome. Don't smoke while you're pregnant, otherwise your baby's going to have health problems.
Oh
So
yeah.
they're trying to go along that same lines, but a lot of people just took that as, oh, well, Donald Trump says don't take Tylenol, well, fuck you, I'm going to take Tylenol.
Well,
What do
it's
you
not.
think's going to
It's not
go
just.
ahead.
It's not just Trump. It's also Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right, the head, like the new head of the health department or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what company actually said it's not a good idea to take Tylenol, and they posted that on social media? You know what
Ooh.
company said that?
Oh,
Tylenol.
While you're pregnant?
Tylenol, it's on social media. You can look this up. They put a tweet out in 2017 saying it's not a good idea for pregnant women to take Tylenol.
Mhm.
Well, hell
And
yeah. Even if it's just one of their Tylenol pills.
if I had to say something to those bitches, you women are nothing more but an embarrassment.
Good luck
So-
dealing with what your baby becomes as a result of that shit.
Now, what do you think's going to happen next? Donald Trump is going to tell people, don't eat poop. Are we going to get TikTok videos of liberal women saying, fuck you, Donald Trump, here's dog poop I'm going to eat?
Oh god. That's what this shit is, and I'm not too surprised that it's coming from TikTok, because TikTok is the proud home of so much fucking unprecedented idiotic degeneracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to die early out of that? Do you not remember the fucking Tylenol recall situation in the 80s? The thing is that it's not just, the activists and the news media, but apparently some medical experts and doctors saying that, oh, Tylenol does not cause autism. They may not guarantee to be a direct cause of autism, but as you just said earlier, it gives a higher risk.
Well, that's the debate. Okay. All three of us on this podcast, in some way or another, are on the spectrum, if with me having Asperger's. Okay. But it definitely but I know my mother wasn't drinking. She wasn't smoking while I was pregnant. Lots of babies develop health problems for reasons unrelated to the painkillers that pregnant women might take to ease the pain of whatever they're feeling.
Uh-huh.
Like, but they want, if they want to act like autism is this thing that can be cured, no, it's not something that's really curable. And everybody who is on that spectrum will have different degrees of functionality. And there's definitely more high functioning autists than there are low functioning.
Yeah, and I've been around one or even a few that are even higher functioning than I am.
That's all we can say about that one. So before we go to what's been going on YouTube, we definitely got to bring up this copycat idiot that decided to shoot up an ICE facility
in Dallas.
In Dallas, of all things.
Of all places.
Of all places. So what happened in Dallas?
He was trying to shoot up ICE agents, but he instead shot 3 detainees that are inside that ICE facility. So he was an Antifa leftist who accidentally and unintentionally turned into a far-right Nazi.
Yeah, they did the same thing. Remember how it's just like they did with Donald Trump. Oh no, this guy was actually far right. It's like, dude, like, no. He literally wrote anti-ICE notes on the fucking bullets that he was using.
This is even more clearly undeniable.
And then and people want to dismiss it. I mean, that last Charlie Kirk thing that we did, we had somebody that was like, well, hey, you didn't mention anything about the Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota lawmaker. Truthfully, nobody knew about that shooting. Nobody really knew about that incident until the Charlie Kirk incident happened. And then people on the left just used that as a way to dismiss the Charlie Kirk assassination.
We also need to remember that ICE was not new soon after Trump first became president. This has actually been around since really the first term of Bush, that came out of the making of the Department of Homeland Security.
Really?
This was a post 9/11 effect.
Oh.
It also needs to be remembered that more illegal immigrants were deported under Obama than both Bush and Trump's first term. What is mainstream news media doing? They keep calling ICE, they call it a modern day Gestapo. Just like how they're trying to call Donald Trump an Austrian failed liberal arts student. Like, they're calling it they're calling ICE the modern day Gestapo. So you're getting, again, young, impressionable people that keep getting this bullshit fed down their throats. So, of course, they're going to think, wait a minute, These people are them. We need to do something about it. Meanwhile, what is ICE just doing? They're just enforcing existing immigration laws that were there before Bush. And yeah, it's Biden shouldn't have allowed 10 million undocumented people that we know of into the country. Like, he should not have done that open border bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that is it's a leftist dream, but to us it was an American nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Now look, a lot of people are trying to push us, like, oh no, the violence happens on both sides. There's political violence coming from the right as well. Why aren't we hearing about it? If the liberal media is anti-Republican, anti-right wing as much as we know it is, like, why are we not hearing about these incidents that they say that they're happening? Well, again, we are just absolutely tired of one side always just twisting the narrative. We're not saying that it's only the left wing, but in this case, we have just seen two big left wing incidents. One of them resulted in the death of one of the biggest conservative voices on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're getting attacks on government facilities. You have Gavin Newsom saying, oh no, it's illegal for ICE agents to wear masks. Well, you know why they're wearing masks? Is because people are doxing them and making threats at them and going after them.
Hey, wait a minute. Didn't Gavin Newsom supported wearing the mask during 2020? But he doesn't
the same
want.
guy who told us all to wear masks in 2020, but then was caught breaking his own rules in a restaurant that shouldn't have been open.
Jeez, what a pencil dick.
Oh, he's been that for years. And so, yeah, goodness gracious. All right. Well, you know what? Again, we do believe in freedom of speech. We think that there needs to be an equal playing field when it comes to your voices being heard on YouTube. Like in the case of the Charlie Kirk stuff, yes, I would hear what Steven Crowder had to say, but I would also hear what TJ Kirk would have to say. So they had two completely opposing ideals, all right? And I think I encourage people to hear from both sides on political issues, on big incidents that happen. And then you can formulate the truth, somewhere down the middle. But as it has turned out, I believe, who has been admitting that they were banning conservative accounts because of pressure from the government? What's been going on here?
Ooh. So YouTube, to my big surprise, has actually brought back some conservative and MAGA, more further right and MAGA YouTubers, and they revealed and admitted that the Biden administration pressured them to basically terminate their accounts on YouTube. And of course, there's a bunch of examples, but this type of thing happened soon after Biden took office. And of course, it's especially in the wake of the January 6th protests and attacks at Capitol Hill. And what they were doing then was to wipe out YouTube channels with videos that spread, quote, misinformation or false information about January 6th and COVID and the COVID vaccine.
Well, YouTube is admitting this now. I don't know what made him decide to admit this now, but it's not like we weren't noticing it when it was happening in real time. Because we remember during the pandemic where if you said anything that was questioning the vaccines or questioning the lockdowns, it definitely felt like those voices were getting silenced. Even people that were medical doctors were saying, no, we shouldn't be doing it this way. This is not being effective. And the doctors were silenced.
Yeah.
And once again, no, Dr. Fauci knows everything. He's a scientist. He looks after us. He loves us. Bullshit.
He's a tool bag.
Dr. Fauci's my savior. You need to accept Dr. Fauci as your Lord and Savior. He wasn't even elected. He was appointed. And then this is a guy who was wrong about AIDS in the 1980s, and somehow he still had a job after that.
Yeah. Heck, there are even gay people that are saying, "Why was this guy I don't know, in charge of the looking out for our health to begin with?"
No. Now we need a double mask because it just makes more sense.
Yeah. I read one of the emails that Dr. Fauci said, and he admitted that the masks were not effective. He is such a shill.
The big pharmacy is just nothing more but like the government in a way.
Yeah, it was 2021 where if you were forced to take a vaccine that was unproven that could basically induce heart attacks in some people, or risk, or your job gets, or you lose your job.
Yeah, and
It's okay when we do it.
yeah, it's fuck that control as well.
Well, and it didn't help that some of the conspiracies, or the things that were dismissed as conspiracies, did turn out to be true when it came to the COVID vaccines. So it's just,
Yeah. Well,
so it was a whole shitstorm altogether in those years.
yeah, but the thing is that, there's conspiracy theories and then there's conspiracies or conspiracy facts. One question I'm wondering about this whole thing is, what took them so long to reinstate these YouTubers? And by so long, I mean like this many months after Trump returned.
Honestly, it's at the same time, it's like, this is all shit we knew what was going on here. And the beauty of it is, if you don't like Alex Jones, you don't have to watch him. You don't like Nick Fuentes, you don't have to watch him. You don't like a liberal talking point, you don't like Bill Maher, you don't have to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody has the ability to just not watch what they don't want to watch. So it's not that I'm saying you should only listen to one side, but people should be smart enough at this point to be like, okay, no, what this guy is saying is it's too outlandish to be true. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, we have definitely been saying a lot. Anything to say that you guys like to close with?
It's been a crazy week, but we're in very crazy, wacky times, and I would say stay on our toes. And some people may have these crazy theatrics that you can't see past when they're trying to remind us or alert us about something.
Fuck Antifa.
Yep,
Yeah.
I can agree with you there. With that said, the diner is closed. If you guys would like to talk to us directly, you can join us on our Discord server. Links are in the description. I'm Desert Coyote 22.